Hello future tech leaders, I'm Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Let's start with the brief introduction about AM and we go that about CMS, what is CMS, and then we proceed further about more in play. Let me first say let's just about CMS. What is CMS? CMS is a content management system. CMS is content management system. CMS, like what CMS does, any tool which is built or which is a CMS, what it does. Those are content management system and they manage is the content of the website. As by the name CMS content management system, they manage the content of the website. Now, when we say that they manage is the content of the website. By content, we mean the images for the videos or the documents, videos or any other documents or different type of files, images, files, all those things comes under content. See, when I talk about CMS, that's content management system which manages a content software website. Mainly, when we say content, it means the images, the PDF, any sort of digital assets. You have all these things and it documents any SVG, PNG, all these type of files are considered or we will be take it as our content of the website. The website which are highly rich and content, which have a lot of content on them, they are best suited to the build using CMS. Like if I open any e-commerce website, you come to the general example, but if I take a when I'm banking side example, let me open it back and side. I see a bank. I bang. Firstly, you will see these are all simple brochure where we just like tell the time we don't log in. Here, when we click on log, and you will see it takes you to an altogether different. You have it. But before that it was iccibank.form. And these are all static pages, static media. You can monitor the show web pages. It just gives you information. These are the different credit card. It is very kind of available but all the facilities that are available on the cards. If I slow down, you will see a lot of calculations like this. Some bit of calculation that if you're interested in card and how much discount or annual net annual like you should be, then only you can go for that card. And all these information, like you will see, it's highly even. This banking website is also highly contented. We see there are a lot of images. You can see there are a lot of images. And of course, there would be a lot of PDFs because there would be a lot of like information or those will also be there on this ICICI Bank website and also if we go over any other page. Here also, we will see that you can see much content is there. When I think about it, you can see this is all together the image. Then if it's called out, this is also background color plus some media image, that's some text, some letters, a lot of things. These sites, all these type of sites are with a highly conditioned content. best suited to be using a game. I'm not saying here ICICI Bank website would be using a M. But you can see there's a lot of content on this website. Of course, AM or any other CMS would be best suited to build this. Now if you click on login, you will see we log in and we directly to a different site, and the time you will input your user ID or information. There you will go to the actual net banking portal of ICICI Bank. See, when you log in, you will see that they are like there. It will. That is highly transactional website because they will see all your figures amounting, all the other banking things. All the highly transactional website or like which have a lot of not static content, which are not brochure, where you can say all the public content, but public content which is highly content. It's in case of a website which is public content. But that is just simply giving you some basic information and declarations and something which is not highly content. Why would you spend much money buying a CMS and spending on just a simple site which doesn't have much content in it? Here we have this if you have this ICICI Bank website. Here, there are a lot of content. There are a lot of figures where you will see that there are a lot of figures as well. Like the annual income is this much. I consider now if this capital or this status to be changed. But this image has to be changed. There are like some more of some new. That is some new offer came and the older offer is no longer available. They wanted to remove that open and bring new image for that new offer or the new banner for the closer. CMS tool helps you in updating, not only managing the content of the website, but also updating the content of the website on slide. When I say on fly, it means that it's not that the developer now, it doesn't become the developer jobs to change the content on that website. The website on. You can see either the website on her or I can see the authors or the content managers, and I will use these three terms. Like now, if they wanted to change this image to something different, the banner, they have to go to the engineers and developers, and the developers will make the change in their code, and then the code will be pushed to the devs. To win, then plot a processing would be conducted and all month time would be taken, or at least a week or 2 weeks would be taken to take just a simple chain line. With CMS, the content of your website can be changed on fly and can be made available to the end user. This is CMS for 10 minutes. Now if I say content at all like here, even given this image and also the status over here, that is also part of content, because when we start using CMS and CMSS, then even that is that we have on the website that can also be changed, and that how the developers has designed the components and has made the authoring available to the content author. And what all they can change, what all things they can change, the connect over can change on the website or on that for that. Use all these things at any content you have on the website. We can change. This is a bit on CMS as content management system. Now where does AEM comes into picture? AEM is a CMS, but it's an enterprise level CMS. AEM is a CMS, but it's an enterprise level. Why do we call it as an enterprise level same? As because it provides many other features to completely build and deliver a website and provide it. Provide all the solution for building a see it and content request. When we say building, and of course, through CMS, you will manage the content, but a year minutes can post the complete website as though. Like consider, see if you have a website, you have to deploy that website on a server to make it work. What basically uses? You buy some space, but see, you buy some space like hard disk. Either you use some cloud space or your local company's space. Like you have a CP, you and there you have you. Good for the install. The software install everything. Let's consider you go in cloud and use the AWS. AWS, you buy some space and there you plant, and I will deploy all my softwares and things over there. Now you buy AWS space, then you install all your softwares. Now you want your website to work. For your website to work, of course, you need a server. Either you can use a batch, a Tom guide, or some applications are like JBoss or some Oracle server. Server you need to have on to which your website can run. Here the server thing would not be needed because AM in itself contains the web server and can both your complete website. Here, if you plan that let's go on AWS and have over AM running on top of it over on AWS, you will install the prerequisites of where I will tell you what are those, and plus there you will install AM, and that's it. On AM itself will provide you with the server which will post the complete website, and you don't need any other separate web server or application server to the whole server site. AM and itself will also have upset. Plus, then I say AM is an enterprise level. It means you can easily integrate it. You can easily integrate with other Adobe tools which are target long, which is other like champions. And then we have analytics and many more. You can directly integrate it, and integration is directly provided. That is why it enables you to build your complete. And see if you are building a set. Of course you would need analytics. Of course you would need like some may need camp, and if they want to run it. Some website may need target, where they want different content to be displayed to different user on the basis of that different segmentation of users, like a different segment of user, a different data. That all is that you using target. It had over a year, has an easy integration with other Adobe tools, and provides you with an end-to installation for building the production. That is why it is complete enterprise level solution. See, you can integrate with Salesforce. Even it has if provides you plugin to integrate with. With some of the other tools, like if you know, there is a solar tool which helps with subject to the solar, which helps in creating indexes and performance searching. A year in itself provide the searching feature where you can perform the search, make indexes and all. But there is an external tool which is Solar CAM. With MMP we have to do the collection on AM. Then look at these are the events that have been fired. Like if someone clicks a button or someone clicks on a link, and then this is a journey of that user. All these events is to be collected, and then further, what is that through Adobe? Is that those events are pushed to Adobe Analytics. Adobe Analytics and itself is just a portal which shows you the behavior of the user. It will show you it in a proper way that this is the behavior of the user, how it has gone, but all things the user has done before during his entire journey and all. But the tone that captures is Adobe launch. It will launch. It just all the events and then it populates, pushes to Adobe Analytics. Here M says it's not that you can only use launch for capital, but you can use other tools. I tell you one tool which is inside. And site and is one boom which performs the same activities as launch. It also collects all the events that the user will perform his journey. And it not only pushes the journey or all the events to Adobe Analytics, but it pushes to multiple other tools that you can configure like Google Analytics or any other tool as well, which you can configure in that. Here we are tracking the events. We are itself like, what we do is we add our, yes, and we add our, yes, classes to different buttons where we want to keep the tracking and to those tools events that get it. You will get to know that with these are the events that have been triggered and the user journey has been this way. And either the launch or inside and whatever tool you get to make the use of that, these moves, events will be captured and further it will be populated to the other tool. That populating logic is there within the launch analytics is just a portal which shows you whatever the journey, it's unique. And all those things. It has to create dashboard that if you wanted to know that journey for a particular flow, you can get different dashboard. And let it start see what happens is with that of it. Even in AM itself. Also, some of the targeting features are available which are very much limited. We have very limited feature. If you want some limited features of target and you wanted to use that on your website, you can do it within the AM only. But if you want to use like a complete 10 to 10 solutions from Target and you have to buy the Target license or Target product from Adobe and then you can easily integrate your AM with Target and all the segmentation of user. Even you can do integration with integration of AM to target any content that you will create inside AM. You can push it to Target and then you can further entire inside Adobe Target. You can see that this one should be displayed to this segment of user. All that thing you can like if you have our experience segments. What we do is we export our experience fragments from AM to Target, even the pages also, but mostly experience. You can do that. Experience segments, content become available in Target and then we do for the segmentation that. This is the segmentation. This is the user category or on the basis of the age group or on the basis of the country code like local. All those things if there is a login from that is a known the base of login details. On the way that we segregate a segment, the users, and then display different content. The computer that there is an event that we have configured in AM and whenever we click on this link, that event should get fired and launch will pick up that. Here on that link we will add that class. If there is any event that we want to get through here, that if someone clicks on this button, then our launch will get to the event. Then we should add our class over here. Then a class would be added over here. And when we click over here, then the event would be kept it over at the end of the launch. It will give you that this is a script that you have to load on your page. Load it is. JavaScript should be loaded is. I'm just taking as an example. This is and JavaScript should be loaded and these classes should be added on the button where you want to keep your trend in your name. But these are the things or maybe some Some configuration is what I know, but launch say that you have to do like this is the G, as this is some third part of the data below. You will do some configuration to load that. Plus, there may be a scenario that this is the G as for lower environment. This is the G as for production, because of course you do not want the same G as or the same like G as to be triggered for both. Law of lower end production, because otherwise the same event would be like even if you're working on lower than. Also the same event would be captured by law, and if it is even that these are coming from to these configuration. A bit of configuration needs to be done where we will check that fits a keyway that load is there. If it's not any, load this and plus the classes that launch things. That these are the classes that you need to load. The new classes we will place in wherever, whichever journey we want to track on the piece of journey. Also we do some configuration things that launch and maybe set up with. This is a journey that we want to configure the classes would be. And we will place those classes on our buttons and then launch. We'll further do it for assessing. It will capture all that journey and will push that thing too. Here from AIM architectural perspective, launch does not comes anywhere in the picture. Even we talk about AIM architecture, we say what all technology is the AIM in itself is a close to it and it's not an open source too. We have to buy license for that, but within itself with the technologies that make the user all open source. We will discuss about those technologies and altogether AIM, but launch is another tool. Altogether another tool. It's also that you can easily integrate with AIM, but you can also integrate Learn that are doing it with other Adobe, with other CMS tools or any other tools as well. It's just that it is MS provider. The configuration's already there. You just have to input the endpoints at all and do some authentication as well as integration. It becomes easier because the thing that already there set up on a that's off. That's why it becomes easier. But you can even integrate target or launch and all this thing with other tools as well with your Java application as that also. We discussed about this of our CMS. Let's go into discussing about more into AIM. It is that it is, and let's now it is just AIM, which is Adobe Experience. Plan it up. Let me just tell you a bit about the history of the AIM. Earlier we used to have a days was a component CQ. Was it product? And it has its version 5 and 4, 5 and 6 and all those measures like it, deep under, losing the newer versions, and that's how it used to work. CQ was the product. Later on, Adobe acquired this and named it as AIM, which is Adobe Experience Managed, and then it at always started releasing the version of Gain of Year 6.6 and 6.23, 6.4, and we are the 6.4 and recently the 6.5, and now Adobe is not releasing any other version after 6.5. It's all cloud, Adobe Cloud. I will tell you about Adobe Cloud, but let's first look over these things and why exactly is the need of this Adobe Cloud, why there is no 6.6. What happened like Adobe when Adobe acquired the even from 4 or the same process as days come and it was following with the CQ. We keep on releasing the newer version, but it's not that you can directly upgrade your AIM by just sitting and just clicking a button. You have to follow a whole lot of process of upgrading one instance to another. Like if you are considered you are working on 6.3 and you have to update to 6.4, or it's not that from 6.3 you have to update to 6.4 to go into 6.4. You can directly upgrade from one version to another voice. It does that. You have to make things compatible. If you are upgrading from 6.3 to 6.4, there would be less things which you would need to make things with where you would need to make your code compatible. But if you will directly be doing it, and then your work will increase for your task or migration from one version of AM. Another will, because there may be a lot of changes from 6.4 to 6.5 as well. First, we have to see what all changes to make all the things compatible from 6.3 to 6.5. Your task or your things will be moved as compared to a few. But of course, it is possible that you can move through one version to directly a different version. And it's not that you have to jump on step out data. This like what? Before this one thing, once you buy it to Adobe and we wanted to get a license for AM. It's not that. What they do is, Adobe will provide you with a jar and with a license file. The jar and license file are the two things which Adobe will provide you. And you will start for this license file is important. You'll share it with anyone. Jar of course is everyone has. The jar, even you can download for you. Anyone can give you any AM types and you did they want. And then I am giving it to you. But of course they won't utilize it because the license is specific to a particular company or particular person. Now, when you have to set up a jar and license again, if I go to the AWS example, you will buy a space on AWS. For AM to work upon, and now I'm not talking about a pretty physical start using a year and then I will go into the step. For the music visit over me. Tools that you need are, of course, some space. Either it can be AWS, but it can be your company, some company in the server. Company's in-house server, or some like AWS as they would, or my Google. See how any type they are. On this case, you will first leave to all jar. And last May one. And I will tell you one May one. And then of course we are good to go ahead with something of your AM. You need to have Java. You need to have me one. And then, of course, you are good to have your app and work. For AM, what you basically do is we get the license in the jar. These are the two things that you would need. These are the two only things that you would need. Of course, everything in AM from back and perspective is written in town. Like all the back and things that we write are in Java. You need to have Java up and working for AM to work. Even if you don't have May 1, then also at least AM server will start. And you can like here, you can see I have my AM server and running. You can see let me just log out. I'm firstly your AM to start working. You need to have Java. Have your Java app and running and there in your environment. Once you have your Java app and running, then May 1 support for AM to run. You need Java. Once you have Java, your server will be app and running. But now you are developing food and you are developing a lot of things and you want that board to be built and deployed on your AM server. That will be time to May 1. May 1 is there build and deploy to you will build your port and you will deploy your port. Whatever the code that you will write and also a base code base, a basic code base, a basic code structure that you need to get see in case you're developing and all working on altogether new website. Of course, you would create a whole together new code base. Once you start developing a code base, you need to have certain folder and should be in a proper structure. Of course, if you will start creating it manually, it will take a lot of time and even a lot of mistake you will tend to do. May 1 also helps you there to create a basic code base. Basic code structure it create, and then of course building and deploying your code base is also the missing neighbor. May 1 is used for this for a pack even if you do not have your May 1. And also at least your AEM server will be app and money, but you cannot. The build and deploy your whole phase. But that is all the backend like. When you start working on the backend, then you will need May. But of course, once you have your Java and May, one set it in your environment. You have the DLL, but to ultimately get compared, to see you guys, some in dot that you write some file. What is the extension of this file? What is the extension of this file? What is the extension of this file? What do you see with the extension of this? Like in Java we use if I write any Java. If I write any file and it's like sort of dot Java. And ultimately what happens is when we compile. See, May 1 is both build and deploy too. When we build the whole all over Java, cool. Then all those Java files get converted into dot class files. But we can do in Java compiler. But we are using a lot of import on top of Java. See, Java is useful trading class in an object. But to make the Java classes compatible with the AEM, for you use a lot of annotations and a lot of AEM APIs. For the AEM APIs to work, you cannot build using Java compiler. Now you have to use third-party compiler or third-party API is also to build, which are AEM API and May 1. What May 1 does is it helps you in building your code base, and take into consider that a good job. Plus, it does not have to book that. It has all the Maven API. I build all that together by using the Maven dependencies. I will start by using the AEM API dependencies. All the Maven API that you need for building your code base, all that will be there as part of the Maven, and then only Maven would be able to build. And it's powerful because it's not a simple Java class. You are using a lot of AEM annotation, a lot of AEM APIs. Basically, see, what happens is in Java, your Java files get compiled and prompt into .class files and all the door. Like you may have hundreds of Java files. All the will get compiled into .class file, and .class file will combine to form a jar. That jar, what happens is like any third party like I developed some tool. I developed an API which is for building PDFs in Java. I built it my own API. What I will do is I will write my all Java code. I will compile that and will form jar output and will make it publicly available. Maybe I had a particular price. If it's very helpful for others or few. Others, legacy in the legacy. But they used to do is they download that jar manually from internet and place it in the class or in the same era that our class can make the use of it. And then they start using it. And when ultimately they have to deploy the whole board based from the local hard is to some server, then they take along with that. They also take that that jar as well and deploy it on that server. That's all that how the legacy wave. See what happens previously that you explicitly or manually download it and make it available in your class. May 1 behind the scene in May 1 also, we have configuration file. In that configuration file, we provide the dependency. We had any due dependency. If you want, like, consider that I provide that PDF. Now we in May 1. But it does is here, it has its configuration file. There we add the dependency. There we add that this is the PDF, this is the jar that I wanted, and this is the version of that jar I wanted. Now when I will do the code bin, what May 1 will do is it will search online for that jar and with download by itself from online to your local machine. This was about the tools that you need to use for working in a year now. Now let's go back. Let's come to the version index. We used to have the CQ days and then Adobe acquired it and name with the and the resolution. Is it any release multiple version? The main issue with this wall and whenever the order to release in your version, whenever they wanted to release except of new features, they have to release near version of in the window. Can now they find that? Look at these other new features of new announced when that they have made. There at the very reason you are version. When there is a new version, but it's not that see that we have the jar and license that now there would be new. Are for the newer version. You're not 6.4. Now we have to have greater 6.5 will have a newer jar. It's not at the same charge will work. It will have a altogether newer job. License I will remain the same because license I contain the unique. That will remain the same but I will get in. Then Adobe will provide you with the newer jar with the 6.5 and then you have to do a lot of infrastructure point because Adobe, what we have seen in past is that they duplicate a lot of API plus a lot of make a lot of movement in their code base. That to upgrade from one person another, you have to make a lot of things compatible with your newer version. You have to make your code compatible. You have to make your code base, the API that you are using in the code base compatible. You see, they keep on releasing the newer versions of the APIs which are more flexible to work and which require less putting. Of course, they provide the backup compatibility, but till certain. Like, of course, if we talk about now when we are on away as a cloud and they not be providing any as of now. I don't know if we're providing a support for 6.2. If you are, website is currently running on 6.2, maybe till 6.0. I'm not sure like that version. If you are on any other older versions this should have been mentioned in their portal only somewhere. They clearly manage that. People are providing this for the older because they have released much of newer API is near with the. For me, if you are still on the older, then we won't be working with. Our engineers are working on the newer things and for them to go back it too. But you tend to you as a client of Headaway. You tend to update to the newer version. One thing is because you have to use the newer features. See, if you have the newer features, then only you can bring some new things to the market, to the end users also. They won't throw out of it. Don't provide any back like support for the older ones anyhow, even Adobe also. Like pushes you to upgrade to newer versions and also you also have to do it because you need to be. You need to bring recent features into the market. This updatation process is very complex where the whole jar has to be updated. You need to make a port competitive. It's all intersect your work. See, and during this period, you are not bringing any new feature to the market. any new announcement is not getting. It's all that all your developers are consumed in upgrading your AM or what known infrastructure. That is why, and also what some of the company does is during this update, they divided teams into two parts where some of the users, some of the devs are working on the newer part or the newer announcement in some box on the updatation. That's how mobile the company, just behind the scenes. This was the major problem of it. Obey that every time they bring newer features, all the kinds, I have to upgrade to the newer version, and for that a lot of time gets improved. That is why Adobe, to help their clients solve this problem, they bring this Adobe as a cloud service. Adobe, but it will be a big cloud service, is that here like we have AWS. What Adobe has done, it has acquired some space from AWS or from Azure. I know it says you. I'm not sure if it's AWS also, but from Azure they have parts and space on that space. They have done some customization for them and have already made all their things available. Like all these tools are already available, like your main one and your agent, the latest thing of the latest version, and it's just one click that the way you are from setting up your new one system, your newer environment. When you work on Adobe the cloud service, when you buy the license for it, you just log in to with your user credentials and you go and just click on one button. There you say whether you want to set up a developer environment or whether reproduction environment. And it will create the environment in just few minutes. Just one click and you do not have to set up anything. You do not have to buy space. You do not have to set up job. I do not have to set up May 1 and you do not have to set up everything is just one click away and just become that button, and the things like your instance will be up and running to the newer version. And also once you have your instance up and running, maybe tomorrow or the keep on the list. I do not keep on releasing the newer versions, newer features or the newer fixes. And for having those successes, you just click on one button, that is update. All the infrastructure work is now found. I have seen this, that the DevOps team are all together, like from a HIM perspective, only a HIM admin job. Like previously, we used to have a HIM developer's job, the author job, and then a HIM administrator job. HIM administrator jobs are all now gone. It's because of our to visit cloud or the whole setup. Even the updates, just click on one way to like simple your mobile. Always just click one button, and the next time when you will do the deployment, your update, your instance will get it to the nearest. And behind the scene, Adobe will be taking care that all the updates, all the instances are set up. All those things will be taken care. Welcome along with that. See here, when you have to deploy your code, you would have to use some like Jenkins. What is Jenkins? You can see you create pipelines through which you deploy the code. See, when you have a HIM, I will tell you about what. Why do we use Jenkins and all? But you put all the Jenkins work is all also being taken care on that. Over here only you have the provision to create pipeline to which you can deploy your board on different server. Like if you create multiple dev servers and one product server and one view at server, then you create different pipelines. They are on that portal on that same port, and only there you create the different pipelines, and through that you can say that this is my dev pipeline, this is my dev 1, dev to dev 3, and this is my stage pipeline. This is my product. And through that you can deploy the code, and now even in the pipeline have been upgraded. All the code building and deployment will happen on Adobe as a cloud service portal. only through those pipelines. And you do not have. It's not that you have to, just you are coding. On your local hard is when you local laptop and push your port into the Get repository, and that Get repository is also within Adobe as a cloud service. Only you will. You will within that pipeline, you provide that. This is that it's been reported. This is the brand. You have pushed the food and it will further build your food. It will also check for sonar if you have any sonar issue. It will fail over there, or if you can also explicitly say that do not fail. I will fix it later. Please continue. And then it will do that deployment. And behind the scene, it's not only just doing this, but also looking after your server in case if your server health is down, then it will replace it with the new servers. For all the whole total vertical scaling is all taken care of it. All the migration job is gone. Even a lot of things have been made. Is there now? I'd always saying now you only focus on development. Focus on bringing newer feature. We are there to take care of everything behind the scene. We have developed the world in such a way that even we are not working behind the scene, everything will be taken care of. If any server is showing high CPU, high memory, it will automatically get removed that the new server will come into picture. If some more CPU has to be allocated to a server, it will be automatically allocated. All that thing will be done automatically, also scaling vertical. Let me just update and then let's take question. Vertical, what you want are scaling. All will be done by Adobe. Also see if you have your website running over there now. If you want to do a new deployment like your monthly, you have monthly releases. You want to do a new deployment. It's not that well by doing that requirement. Your server will be stopped and there will be a like unavailability and during that time. It's not like that. What it follows it follows a rolling deployment. What happened during that time is you will have your newer server popped up where the new code will be deployed and your own server will still be up and running at a time. There will be a time where or when new server will be popping up where the new code will be deployed and your old server will still be there, and with time in some few minutes, few seconds, the old server will stop down and it will be taken care by all the new server which will have the new. There will be no downtime, no availability. All will be up. There will be just a time plane where both the old and you could be available, and there will be transformation that will be taking. It follows rolling development. We call it as rolling the product. See, our inner servers are not down. The witness was RR. New servers are also started also. Like we get started and you could get it played over there, and like if considered behind the scene, you have to all servers. One old server at a way will remove the pointing from one old server and it will point to the new server. Then within a second it will again. We will see that all its new server are up. Then it will remove the pointing from the rest of the old server and will move from all the new server in a form of rolling. It will slowly remove the old server and bring the pointing to the new server in a rolling, of course, behind the scene. How add OP as a cloud world. That is a very complex storage it behind the scene. It makes the use of containers. If you heard about doctors, it makes a young doctor. It makes use of containers at one server. It has that food and it will remove those containers and will bring it to the new containers it follows. The doctor and the containers we are working, and also the important thing over here. See, in this point we used to get the license, and I don't know if you are on the base of a license that this is the license that for a particular version that I can go get a list of the post office. This is my post for this life. Now, how can the most be determined over here the license post? Because here you do not have the license file. It's all online portal on cloud, on ad, always cloud, which behind the scene is using Azure Space. There, you can just provide you with the login credentials and you can, for that, create your server then to all the people. But how will the life in thinking for how will it start? Will charge your pricing. What it does is it's charged on the basis of user phone on your site, the number of user accounts that comes on your website. On the basis of that, it will be start charging you on going forward on the business. This is how they charge on. They will only provide you with the login credentials. You can get that. You have your company, basic company. They will behind the scene maybe do something or do some competition. But they will provide you with the login credentials. And you can use login using that, and for that on. You will see in that portal that you have the provision to create here instances. You can get the structure work that I told you. It's all going. But for now as it's starting like you're starting working in a year. For you it will be best to start working with 6.5 way. You know how you set up the things. And you have a payment and or you start working on him. You won't be knowing about this future if something happens and you have to do this because see on your local you cannot use that over the house of this for setting up the server on your local. You still have to use all these things. What going forward on Adobe Cloud Service? They provide. In case earlier we used to call them jars and now on powerful cloud white as deepits. They're also jars only and with the newer versions and all those which are compatible with the cloud. When forward on cloud, you provide with the SDKs, do that nothing but charge. Only that also uses the same thing. You have to set up our main one and then of course instead of a and some of the key. As you guys also. Nothing only but similar to the web email service, like if a newer feature has been brought up as a print type to add a web email. That as you can. Otherwise, everything will be said. For you, you do not have to work on a visit now. You should work on this only because. And then for the day, on your local system, on your local laptop, you would have to set up all these things, even if you are using it away. The cloud. They are on Adobe Cloud. You can set up your actual production servers, your lower environment. But for your local, you still have to use this. See Adobe as a cloud you will use for your production and our network for lower environment, where everyone can test and all the time. But when you're local, when you have to do some development, when you have to do everything, you have to develop some new feature or you have to test some new feature, you have to fix something of course. You have to. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.